Music's played a huge impact in my life, and it's actually the reason why I decided to pursue a career in this industry. So what's up, guys? My name is Mohammed, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the audio aspect of this film, Granny Smith. Audio is extremely crucial to film, as it is 50% of it. I will be going through a few things, such as scoring the film, creating the sound effects for it, and as well as on-set recording and mixing and mastering the film as a whole. To show you guys an example of how audio plays a huge role in film, take a look at this clip.
Are you okay?
You take me for granted. You don't love me anymore. Our marriage is over.
See what a huge difference that made? Scoring the film is actually extremely important as well, as it sets a type of emotion. Let me show you guys. So these are two audio recorders, the Tascam and the Zoom. The Tascam is mostly used for the film industry. However, I do prefer using the Zoom for shorter productions. So every recorder has an XLR input. And this is where you connect your XLR. The XLR goes from here to different types of mics. In my opinion, there should be at least 2 channels. 2 channels are critical in order to capture the room noise as well as the dialogue. So I'm going to speak to you guys about the Zoom for a bit, and the gain specifically, because gain is extremely important when you're doing on-set. So if you have a shot where you're close to the actor, or the actor has a loud voice in general, the best thing to do is to keep the gain on about like 5, maybe 5.5. When you go higher, you have to be careful. Like, if the actor is really loud, it's best not to have the gain up loud, because that way the audio will get distorted, or you're going to catch way too much room noise, which wouldn't be good for you in post. So for example, if you're going to 6.5, you have to listen closely and make sure you're not catching anything that you don't want to catch. Now I'm going to speak to you guys about the boom pole and how you hold it, because how you hold it is extremely important depending on the shot. So if you have a medium shot or close-up shot or wide shot, it all depends on the shot. If you have a close-up shot or an extremely close-up shot, the best thing to do is to hold the boom pole this way and just aim it at the actor's mouth. Move your shotgun mic however you want, but make sure it's aimed towards the actor's mouth so you can get clarity. But if you have a wide shot or a medium shot, you can actually, right here, loosen it up, make it longer, and tighten it. So speaking of wide shots, what I did to support the shotgun mic was I added a few lapels. I layered them on top of this. We had a shot where our main actor, Adam Stone, was walking through the door, and I wanted to capture each movement of his. So for example, him opening the door, him placing the key on the table, and his footsteps in general. And I knew I wouldn't be able to get that with the boom pole. So the best thing to do was to place lapels. So I placed the lapel at the door, a lapel under the table. So when Adam walked in, I can clearly hear him opening the door, walking in, and placing the key on top of the table. It doesn't mean that I'm not recording with this mic. It just means that I'm layering it to get more clarity. So I had a few difficulties on set. Every audio engineer will have a few difficulties, but I'm going to speak about 3 difficulties I've had. And I'll speak about the most important one, in my opinion at least. It's the gain. Having a good level is extremely important. Like I said before, if you have it over 6, it will get distorted, most likely. So you have to make sure you're listening and not having the gain up too loud, because it's going to catch too much room noise, or it's going to get distorted, and not even a noise remover is going to remove that. It's going to be extremely difficult. The second part is AC, ventilation in general. If there's AC, it will catch it. Especially if the gain is up, even if it's not up, the AC noise is loud. It will still get caught. So you must make sure to turn off the AC when you're recording. And also, if there's anyone eating, if there's anyone making food, if there's anyone even walking that they're not supposed to be walking, make sure to tell them to stop that. As an audio engineer, it's your job to make sure the audio is good. And it's your job to make your life easier in post in general. And I'm going to speak about one more thing, and it's going to be the XLR and the boom pole together. When you're holding the boom pole, it's natural to have the XLR with it, but you must hold it to make sure it doesn't touch this, because see, anything, if it touches it, it's going to get in your audio. And if it gets in your audio, not even a noise remover can remove that as well. It's very difficult. So what I did basically was I actually taped the XLR to the boom pole, and I held it tight in order not to get any noise. Of course, I ultimately did because of some shaking, but we redid it, and it was better. So even if you extend it, just make sure it's taped. So I'm going to speak to you guys about the scoring, more specifically the suspended chords. I created these chords because they create tension, and as you guys know, our film is a thriller. So this is the first layer of chords I made. They're all suspended, like I said. Here's what they sound like. And of course, there always needs to be a layer, so I layered it with another pad, and here's what that sounds like. And I added a flute to give it more of a suspenseful vibe right here. Some strings as well. Also a layer on the strings. After that, I wanted to create a melody, piano, because it sounds good. It sounds like a proper score. So here, I created 2 melodies, both suspenseful. Here's what the first one sounds like. I layered that as well. And here's what the second melody sounds like. it's also layered. And after that, of course, it wouldn't be a track without a bass line. So I created a bass line here. And here's what that sounds like. But I wanted to give the bass line more of a kick. So what I did was I added a sub bass beneath it. And here's what that sounds like. And that's pretty much it. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go through the post-production, mixing it specifically, noise removal and such. And I'm also gonna go through a scene where we needed a telephone effect, and I used an EQ to achieve that, and I'll go through that as well. So let's take a look. So this is a scene with everything bypassed, nothing, completely dry.
Are you okay?
Okay, so my approach towards any mix is I start off with like a subtractive EQ, a compressor, and an additive EQ. So let's take a look at the subtractive EQ. Right here, I cut the low frequencies a bit, and over here I looked for unwanted frequencies, and I noticed ones that I didn't like the sound of them, turned them down. Quite simple. By the way, you can use any EQ, but I just prefer the waves one because I'm used to it. Same thing with the compressor. Here we go. Waves compressor, R compressor. Set the attack on 84.7, 64.9 a release, threshold on 12.5, ratio on 379, and a bit of makeup gain. This is just to make it like makes it sound more complete. It's a compressor is essential, as I mentioned before. And then we can go on to the additive EQ, and I just boosted the high frequencies a little bit for I just felt like it needed more high frequencies. And then I put the noise removal on there, and really this noise removal, it's the RX spectral. Usually it analyzes the audio for you, and it kind of gives you a starting point, but I just checked out where I needed to reduce some of the wind sound, some of the background noise, and I did that. But you gotta make sure not to reduce too much, or you gotta have your parameters correct so that you don't distort the audio or make it sound unnatural. So let's check everything out with the effects.
Are you okay?
So just to show you guys, this is without the noise removal. With the noise removal, huge difference, as you guys can tell. Noise removal is extremely important in post. So let's go through the telephone effect. I did that as well. So since I don't have all the footage yet, I picked a random dry vocal, and I put a telephone effect on it. This is an Ableton EQ. So let's check it out without the EQ, and then with the EQ. This is without the EQ.
I'll let you get to me once now, baby, but I'll never let you win again.
And then after I added an EQ,
I'll let you get to me once now, baby, but I'll
There's actually multiple ways to achieve the telephone effect, but I just messed around in this EQ and I achieved this sound, and I really like the way the parameters are set here, so I stuck with it. Thank you guys for watching my open source. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you learned something new in the audio department.